It's Black Golf Entertainment. You're on the tee with Black Golf Entertainment.
Hey everybody, we're back chatting with PGA professional Wyatt Worthington II. Tell me what's going on now. Where are you now? Are you just competing now in different events, or are you
really trying to focus on the things now that I have time to work on certain projects and certain aspects of my swing that I probably wasn't able to beforehand because of how everything was displaced and whatnot with COVID. So right now, just moving in silence, man. Moving in silence,
Today, as we wrap up our chat with pro golfer Wyatt Worthington II, Wyatt chats with Tony Mark co-founder Malcolm Dennis about navigating his routine through tough times, leaves us with some of his important tips for playing the game, and reveals some of his favorite golf courses.
Like, what would you say is the biggest difference you see between a pro and an amateur? What was one thing you would tell amateurs who are playing the game? Whether just from an instructional or just maybe their headspace, just what's one or two things you would tell an amateur just to kind of push them in the right direction?
Okay, so let me ask you a question first. I'm going to answer your question, but let me ask you a question to kind of get your head. So what do you think is more important? Do you think it's short game or the long game?
Actually, I think it's the short game.
Okay, so tell me, why do you think it's the short game?
I think, at least for me and what I see other people play, a lot of times we're coming up short on the green, or we're not reading that putt correctly. We don't understand the undulating of the green, or maybe the slope of the fairway, the thickness of the rough, things like that. I know one time, I remember one time, I think it was a par 5, and I got second shot just short of the green. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, well, I'll just putt it up. But I didn't read it properly, and once my ball went up, it rolled right down and probably 20 feet past me because I just didn't read it correctly. So to me, I think the short game a little bit more. I think most folks can advance the ball decently.
Okay.
But it's when you're in that small 5, 6, 10-foot window, and you don't want to go 12 feet, you don't want to go 6 feet.
Right.
10.
Yeah. Getting that little bushel barrel. Yep.
That's what I think. You probably tell me something else, but that's what I think.
No. Hey, we're here, learning and trying to grow, and each one teach one, right? So now that you answered that question, let me ask you just a couple more, and then I can get back to the actual question that you brought up to me. When you miss let's say you have a 5-footer, 5-foot putt, and you miss that, how many strokes is that?
If I miss it, that's 1 stroke.
All right. So let's say now we're on a tee, and we hit one in the water, hit one OB, how many strokes is that?
So in the water, what is that? 1 in, it drops, so now I'm on my 3rd swing, right?
Exactly. So if we're going by logic, if you miss one little short putt compared to hitting a ball OB or water, which one is more important? Right. So now a lot of people, and I was guilty of it too, over the things that I've learned over the past few years and whatnot, I got ingrained growing up like, you gotta have a tight short game. That short game's everything. You gotta make sure your putter is working well because you putt on every single green. That's the most important. But that's not gonna be the one that costs you the most strokes.
Gotcha.
The one's gonna be way more detrimental is when you're gonna be hitting the ball and you're gonna be out of play and you're gonna have to reload and taking those penalty strokes. Like if you miss a putt, generally for the most part, if you're a relatively decent putter, you're only going to 3-putt so many times, right? So many times you're only going to 3-putt, and you can only gain so much strokes from putting. If you look at a PGA Tour stat from 8-foot putt, that's a 50-50 chance. This is the best people in the world. You either make it or you miss it, but from 8 feet, it's a crapshoot, right? You would think the number would be way more. A little bit higher, at least in my eyes. I thought it would be higher because when you see TV being presented to you online, or not online, but when you're watching TV, you're seeing that they're making it from everywhere, right? They're showing highlights. They're not showing any lowlights, right? Because they want to make this entertaining. Well, maybe it could be entertaining if they wanted to see people just do all the bloopers and fails and whatnot. But when it comes to like the amateurs and the pros, what would be way more efficient, you would really try to focus on working on your swing and your long game. Not saying that you definitely need both. You can't have one without the other. But if I were to come to you and say, hey, would you rather have a putt off with who's your favorite golfer?
My favorite golfer is you.
So let's go. If you would you rather have a putt off against me? Your chances of winning are like driving the golf ball, dropping from 100 from 225 in the middle of the fairway, and seeing like how many times we can get it on the green or close. What do you think your chances?
I take that.
The putting over hitting.
I'm not a good putter, so I mean, I think not trusting my short game, but I would take the 150 to the green every time with anybody.
150, okay, gotcha.
You know, it's like my style.
I got it. That's your bread and butter. Okay. All right, let's go with off the tee. Right, when it goes to like distance and keep it in play. Would your answer change? We know your bread and butter 150, so I'll make sure we'll take you to the course where there's.
No, I don't trust myself off the tee.
Gotcha. So Gotcha. So, and when we actually look at the skill when it comes to putting compared to like hitting, like putting, you're only moving your body this much, right? You're only taking the putter this far. When it comes to actually hitting, you're moving your whole body. There's a lot of body movements that's going at a higher speed. So there's a lot of things that you need to line up for it to go correctly, or at least keep it relatively in play and in the short grass. So anytime, just try and pitch you on game. Anytime a pro gives you the opportunity, hey, you want to have this putting contest or you want to go hitting contest, you go putting on it, because that's what separates the amateurs from the pros. Granted, let me also say this so people don't put words in my mouth. They have it all, right? When it comes to short game, especially playing at the high level that it is now, you have to check off every box. But when it comes to the priority, which one's more important, the hitting would definitely be a little more important than the putting.
Your normal routine, is it the range every day and then putting and chipping after, or do you kind of mix it up? What's
yeah. So like I said, now that being in the golf industry and trying to be at the highest level, getting sponsorship to do it full time, right? Because it's like one of the things that I've learned, like when I was playing in the PGA Championship, of how much of a disadvantage I was in. I'm a kid. I'm still going to answer your question, but I was a kid that was hitting golf balls on a driving range mat, compared to the guys that were doing it day in and day out at the nicest facilities, and that's a huge separation in the sport, because it's at a football field, relatively, you're going to have the same lines, it's the same distance, right? But same grid. Basketball is going to be relatively the same, but this is in golf, it's totally different. Grew up playing like municipals and things of that nature, compared to the high-end country clubs where it's a little more out, where the rough's a little bit thicker, the greens are a little more faster, more undulated, more things that kind of come in play. So it's a totally different setup and whatnot. So in an ideal world, I would wake up, eat breakfast, go to the gym, do like a little activation, try to stretch the body, make sure everything's functioning properly. And I think there's so much more relevance when it comes to working on your body in golf, because golf doesn't look at it as a sport, but it's extremely athletic if you look under the hood, right? But when you look through the lens of you're just turning on TV, he's walking, right, and he's having someone else carrying his bag, it's like, how athletic do you have to be? And that's totally different. Right. Totally different. It's very misconstrued, right? Because when you have to move your body, you're moving the club at 120 miles per hour, and plus, like that's some athleticism. And the funny thing is, when you see like a lot of other pros in other arenas like NBA and football, the most athletic guys, can run your 4.2 or can jump, have a inch vertical, right? And they come to golf and they're like, yo, I can't even hit this ball. And they get so frustrated. I'm like, yo, I've conquered, I perfected my craft, and yet this ball's just moving here. I don't have to react or anything, and I can't even hit it. So like, it's extremely athletic. It's just low key athletic than what most people would see. But to go back and answer your question, like I said, work on, my body, do like a little gym activation to kind of, warm up the muscles and whatnot. I would putt for a little bit, work on short game, and then ease my way up to, hitting golf balls at a range. Go play, have a little bit of lunch, recap on what I did right, what I did wrong, go back and work on, like I said, the things that I need to work on, whether it be short game, touch off all the boxes, right, with short game, hitting, bunker game, all that, putting, and then probably go play 9 more. After I get done with that, this is probably going to be like around 5 o'clock, and then actually go work out. And that's a whole different thing from like your gym activation and things of that nature. And then once you get done with gym, obviously you need to fuel up, eat correctly, or eat well, if you will, and do like maintenance and recovery to do it all over again the next day. The sport in general is like none other like any other sport. Because if you think about it, golf is the most relatable sport than most of other sports. At the highest of high levels, the pros are, missing like 4-footers, right? They're hitting it out of bounds, they're hitting it in the water. It's more relatable than any other sport, right? Not every human being knows what it's like to dunk, like LeBron James, right? But everyone can relate to hitting a good shot, right? Or getting the ball up in the air and, hitting a good bunker shot or whatever the case may be. It's so much more relatable. And this game is amazing. And I would like to see, like I said, I also talk about I'm, pro black, but at the same time, like everyone from all walks of life needs to enjoy this sport. But more specifically, like I said, I'm rooting for us because we haven't been counted on for a while.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Golf to me relates to, it mimics life.
Bars. Yeah.
How you act on a golf course tells me a lot about you.
You can learn a lot.
And unless you play golf, you don't really see that part. And I try to teach that, my daughters or whatever. It's like, if somebody hits a bad shot and they're stomping around, cursing, whatever, that's probably how they act in a lot of other situations.
You get exposed.
So, the integrity of the game, everything tells me a lot about you and the person. And I love it for that perspective as well, because it's really a mimic of life.
Right.
Give me your top 3 favorite courses that you've played.
Oh, dang. That's tough, man. That's tough. That's like, who do you like better, your mom or your dad? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really,
Or top 5.
Who's your five? Right. Yeah. No particular order. Like, you can ask me, like, who's my favorite rapper? It's like, yo, that's tough, bro. No particular order. I would say Merrifield Village, being biased from Columbus, Ohio, and always, growing up, seeing the Memorial Tournament, and want to be inside the ropes there. So that already has sentimental value off of that. I would say Seminole, down in Florida. Get your Googles up on that, man. Yeah,
I gotta check that out.
That's some Illuminati type stuff right there.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to, get your Googles. I believe it's the number one course in Florida. Very exclusive, very private. But I was fortunate enough to work there, and they welcomed me with arms, and it's just a fantastic place on the beach, man. It's just. Yeah, it's a whole vibe. Yeah, that's life goals right there. If you up in there, man.
I'm writing that one down. Let me write that one down.
Bro, capital letters, all capital letters. Yeah. There, I would go. I guess I would go Baltusrol a little bit because the significance. It was my first major that I ever played, and I know like once I cross over into the PGA Tour, and I can look back and see how far I came.
Wyatt Worthington second, man. We appreciate it. PGA professional, folks. You got to follow him. Check him out. Doing big things on the scene, and we hope to see you soon, man.
No, like I said, appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, definitely gonna keep following you and
no, thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Man, I love this story. Love talking to you. Down to earth guy, Appreciate that as well. I'm definitely looking forward to some big things for you in the future. I'm happy to hear this stuff from you and talk to you. I'm really inspired by your story.
So I appreciate you.